The member from Timiskaming Cochrane.
Thank you, Speaker. It's always an honour to be able to stand in this House, and today to recognize Farm Safety Week, and which is next week. Farm safety is a pretty personal matter to a lot of farmers, and one of the inherent great things about family farms is that the family is involved. That's also one of the inherent dangers, and that's a hard balance. And I know on our farm we took all kinds of steps to make sure that it was as safe as possible. But still, there were close calls. And I'm not going to go into a litany of what happens on farms all the time. And it's also the thing about farm work that's different than almost every other occupation is it doesn't go by a rhythm. Not only is it not 9 to 5, but there are times when you have to work all night. And I can tell you a personal story. I had a very serious farm accident, but I'm not going to talk about that one. I almost had a second one after I was an MPP. And I got home at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, and we were putting in straw, and everything was going well. And about 10, 11 o'clock that night, there was no dew. And you don't need the Weather Channel. A farmer knows. If there's no dew, it's going to rain. So we were going. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, I had a serious accident years ago, and I spent a long time in the hospital. And it's because I grabbed the PTO shaft and I shouldn't have. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, the way it works, you shut the PTO off, and you take the shaft off the tractor and hook it in the wagon. But you're tired 1 o'clock in the morning, and I thought I shut the PTO off, and I didn't, and I grabbed that shaft again. And I told my staff and my son, that's it, we're shutting it down. You know, but those are the things. And you know what? We lost a lot of straw the next day because it rained, and it rained, and it rained. But those are the things that makes farming different. And it's not, for many, especially when you're young, you know, it's not a case of just hiring extra staff because you don't got the money for the hire the extra staff. That's why I had the accident in the first place. We rebuilt the barn. We killed ourselves working. We had a party the night before I had my accident. We had a party to thank all the neighbors who had helped us. And the party went late because these people helped us build the barn. The next morning, I went to the barn to milk the cows at 6 o'clock. And 9 o'clock, I walked back to the house and said, you better call an ambulance. And I wasn't seen in the barn again for 3 months. But should I have had somebody else to milk the cows the next day? Sure. But there was no money to do that. We risked everything to go ahead. And my last point, and this is going to sound like we're a very accident-prone family. My dad died in a farm accident. And he did something wrong. He got onto a tractor when it was running. And he hit the gear shift was here, and he hit the gear shift. I saw it happen. And in the distance I saw it happen. And the tractor hit him, and I saw him die. And I went, and I raised a lot of issues with my dad made a mistake, but if that gear shift, if it had been locked, it wouldn't have happened. I went to the tractor company, I went to the Farm Implements Board, and they all said the same thing. Well, your dad made a mistake, and I wasn't arguing that. And they sent me a letter, said, your dad, made a mistake. And it was a farmer who sent me a letter, said, because you should never go onto a running, I might take a couple seconds more, but you should never get onto a tractor that's operating. And I said, you're a farmer, right? Dairy farmer. He said, yeah. I said, okay, so when you're blowing your silo full, do you have somebody sitting on the blower? He said, hell no. I said, well, how did the guy get on and off that tractor? When you're running a grain auger, do you have somebody sitting on that tractor? Of course not. Well, how did he get off? How did he get on? When you're running a generator, do you have somebody? And he said, no. And that's as far as it went. I was young, I was busy. A couple years later, because I'd written to the Farm Implement Board, I got a call from a lawyer in Texas. And I made a deposition. 12-year-old kid had gone to shut off a grain auger. And what they figure is, as he was getting on, he hit that gear shift and it killed him. And then the company changed the tractors. You know, so it's not just farmers, and it's not just nature, and it's not just, you know, and also regulations have to, it's not just enough to say you can't get on a running tractor, because you know what, there are times, and I'm really glad the minister's here, there are times when it's unavoidable, and the rules and the regulations have to reflect that. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak.